Alright, welcome back to Kamen Rider Review, episode 161. We're here reviewing the final two episodes of Kamen Rider O's, episodes 47 and 48. So, in these two episodes, well, in the case of 47, we're pretty much leading to the final battle, where basically Dr. Maki has turned on Akka because he figured he's not useful for a vessel anymore, so he turns back being good guy again. Yes, there's also a thing of, in 47, of Edgy being offered to absorb a bunch of cell metals that was seen in the King's room, which appeared, I think it was in 45, 45, where we actually was behind the throne. A whole room of cell metals. Now I'm thinking that these cell metals were probably gathered a little. I remember basically early on that they were kept in a small vault in the president's office. Now they're here in this vault. My guess is that this is probably gathered over the course of the entire series, all these cell metals. So Dr. Miki, of course, initiates his plan. Well, actually, 47 starts off with Akka before Akka gets turned on by Dr. Miki. If Akka versus Edgy is greed mode, which he also briefly assumes in 48 as well. Yes. They fight for a while, and of course he thanks him. And then, of course, he's on a leave with the transformation device. And that's later on, that's when the whole turning, stabbing back thing. But, of course, basically, Shogo's body perfectly fine. Yep. Also in 48, Hina tells Chieko, who probably the only major character in the whole series who's kept in the dark what the heck is going on. Yeah, she's like the only one immune from everything, because she has been in like pretty much almost every episode. She's the only one not told. I mean, Date knows going because him and Geto are the Kamen bursts. Erica knows, the president knows. So Hina explains what's going on, and well, she does buy the fact what's going on, just not exactly entirely believing what Hina's saying, but she does buy basically stuff that's going on. So, yeah. So, basically, this is leading toward the finale, where Uva basically keeps getting a bunch of metal stored inside of him. At one point, it seems like that he's about to be destroyed. And then, of course, Dr. Miki steps and throws metals, and he keeps throwing metals. I'm like, please stop. He wants basically over. And then he just, this is kind of weird. So, then he proceeds to get away after being attacked by the two bursts and, well, the Kamen Rider, of course. Well, basically O's. He gets away, ends up in a motorcycle parking lot. He converts all these motorcycles into this orbital platform, which actually hovers over the core of the city, and it's transforming buildings into cell metals. Now, in episode 46, I think it was, we have Gemmel turning cars into metals, and people. Now we're turning frickin' buildings. Okay? And of course, like I want to basically do on my end. Now, of course, while this is going up here, we actually have the reason why Edgy used all sorts of metals in his body. So he can put inside his weapon, because he usually put like one inside of there. But he puts a whole lot of these things and tries, but it doesn't work. And then, of course, they fly up there with Akka. They also find some Yami sent by Uva. And look at the burst show up, and Erica shows up too. Also, during the course of this one episode, the president himself goes through 3 different suits. He starts in a red suit, and then he's making a yellow suit, and he's in a yellow suit where he's making a birthday cake. And while he's making the birthday cake, he apparently doesn't care the fact his windows are being destroyed by this orbiting platform which is outside his window. Yes, I am not kidding about that. This is seriously happening outside of his window, and he just has his happy birthday thing, like happy birthday to what? New Era, maybe? So, then Dr. Maki is defeated, Thanks to Aka giving his last 3 medals to Edgy, and then he becomes, for the first time since episode 31, he does the all red combo. Yeah, first time since that very episode. And he uses the perp medals as inside of him, puts inside of, well, this particular thing that was mentioned by the president, put it in there. And then he uses it to basically attack Maki, defeating him. And then a black hole opens up inside of him, where he is torn apart. But before he transforms, he apparently has his doll in his hand, and then the doll disappears. And then later on ends up in Chieko's restaurant, where it's dressed like Dr. Miki with a flower. How the heck it got there is never explained. Now, this restaurant is blocks away. Like, I would say about 2 or 3 miles away from this fight is going on. And yet here, she somehow got it, despite the fact that in the previous scene it was actually in Dr. Miki's hand. Now, either it was brought to her by somebody, or something else. It is weird. It's not really explained here of how the heck she got the freaking doll. So, meanwhile, though, Dr. Monkey is being, like, he gets put in the black hole, all the metals go, so, and basically everything explodes, and then Aka basically fades away, while Edgy is falling to Earth. Was falling what appears to be 50 stories from the air, and someone right around, he should have suffocated given how high he was up in the air. But luckily he's saved by Geto, the comrade birth, and they settle down, and then of course they all celebrate. And then we have the credits where it looks like you have Geto rejoining the police force. And also, Shego looks like he's joining the police force too, presumably in court shopping. He's off at school. And while he's shopping at school, we have a cameo here by Yoko, Yuri, and also Keigo. This episode was actually, 48 was actually his first appearance in the Kamen franchise. So he made his debut just 1 episode prior to the start of 4Z. So you already had 3 characters from 4Z make a debut prior to the series. Of course, 4Z made his debut in the second movie for O's, along with Yuko, which I thought that was interesting. Which, great, you actually don't hear him speak, but it clearly is him. Yeah, same actor. And they have a big celebration, we're reunited, except for Edgy, who's basically has left the country with the broken metal of Aki trying to fix it. Apparently, the other half, he got it, and of course, he got it. And he's off in some desert place. Where he is, I'm guessing he's probably either in the continent of Asia or he's probably in Africa. Because I highly doubt, basically, he's in South America. So, he's also carrying around on a stick his underwear, because he's obsessed with underwear. Yep. And apparently he's got a phone now. When the heck he got a phone is a complete mystery. My guess is that the president of the foundation, he must have supplied that to him in exchange for research on the metals. That's presumably, basically, probably who gave it to him. Because it was explained early episode, prior to this whole thing happening, that Edgy comes from a luxurious family. As for, like, what happened to his money, who his father is, was never explained in this series. And of course, he's doing this via what looks like to be early version of Zoom, because you have Keiko having a communicate via her iPad. I should point out, though, this is 2011. And they have a version of an iPad, or at least a tablet in that point in time. My guess they probably did. And however, what we now refer to as Zoom. While he's speaking far away, of course, everyone's all celebrating, reunited, and that's kind of the show itself. Overall, basically, this was a fantastic series. I thoroughly enjoyed this thing. Like, one of the reasons why I really want to check out the series was because not only the characters in it and the fact that the writer himself looks so cool, is the 4th anniversary movie. O's, Den-O, all Kamen Attack. I saw it was amazing. That's the main reason why I check out the series. Now, some interesting fun facts about the series. Number 1, it is the 25th Kamen series ever released. Number 2, it is the 12th Heisei era series. Number 3, the second under Phase 2. Number 4, it is the 12th series I have completed. of all the Kamen Rider series. Yep, 12 out of 35. Yep, and I now have, I think overall it's like supposed to be like 21, but I think it's like more like 22, 20. I didn't recount it, but yeah, I have a good amount left to go. Yeah. And with that also, I'm done with Kamen Rider O's for now. Yes, there's 10th anniversary movies. Now, in case you're curious though, do any of these characters return? Dr. Miki does not return until a movie related to Zio. That was basically in 2019. The rest of the characters mostly return in movies afterwards, a lot of who made their final appearance in the 10th anniversary movie, including the main character, of course. I've read it's set in Ultra Continuity. I might check it out later on, but I really want to move on from this because I really enjoyed it. So, next up, basically discuss bench watching will be Don Brothers. Now, before I do that, I got a comic corner, and also I have 2 anime to cover. The first anime, 100 Girlfriends, the second being Blue Exorcist. Yeah, but before I end this video, one of my final thoughts on the character themselves. Edgy was great. Didn't mention the arc, but he was a fun character to watch on screen. I can't feel this watching on screen. He basically was, he was competent. He basically was friends. Hina, despite being there, she wasn't a damsel in distress. She was there witnessing a lot of the stuff. Also, where Super Saiyan comes from is never explained in this series. Yeah. Shogo. You only saw him for a handful of episodes. In fact, he's a very competent detective. He doesn't really do anything at all in this one. Aka, the man who's basically he's hosting to. Great character. Yes, the same actor, of course. He got a ton of development in the course of the series. As for the other greeds, Gemmel, his whole thing is he's Mosel's pet. Mosel is just there. Uva looks like he seemed like he has something to do, but the only thing interesting about him, about the whole series, aside from making yammies, was that he's trying to revive Gemmel and Mosel, who were briefly killed in the series. If you think of all the bad guy greeds, Kazu wasn't actually anything the whole series. He appeared a lot of the series. Like, out of the first 44, he appeared in 40, out of the 44 episodes he was credited period, I think he missed like 3 overall. He wasn't gone very long. Not really. Dr. Miki. Great character. Him and Kamen Rider was built up the course of later on the series. Like, once he uses the purple medals, it's like, where was this going? Like, oh, he's going to come agreed. Okay, interesting. His doll was weird, and the fact that he was developed pretty well in the series. The President Foundation. I should mention this now. They did not mention the main series stuff. He is a descendant of the guy who was the original O's. Yes, the original the King O's. He's a descendant of his. That's what he basically is. His assistant didn't do a lot of the series, aside from, well, eating spicy food, eating the birthday cakes, and had Goto on a leash a lot of the time. Goto was interesting. I like his character development in the course of the series. Date, fun guy. And also, a writer who's not a dick when he first shows up. Yeah. I think that's pretty much all the characters. Akalos didn't have much to do at all. He was a late direction of the series. But it is interesting to have this Kamen Rider series. You don't have a lot of characters. Plus, you don't have characters just randomly disappearing for a few episodes. Or like when they disappear, you know how like in the original series where go around for some period of time, then they're dropped for no explained reason. Here you have characters here almost the entire series. Out of the 40 episodes we have for this whole series, the only ones basically appeared in all 40 episodes was Edgy, Hina, and you could kind of say Shogo because his body was possessed by Aka. So they say these 2 are probably the main characters of the series. They did pretty much appear the whole series, which is indeed true. I would say of the evil greeds, the 4 we have here, I'd say Katsu is probably the one who appeared the most amount of time. I'd say probably one had the least screen time was Aka Lost. Yeah, and Dr. Mickey, of course, he had really good episodes. Took a lot from basically turn bad, but he was a really cool character. This doll was funny. Like, I love how his reactions, like, and of course, at one point, a doll doing this. I'm like, is he Jamaican doll doing this, or is doll sentient? I don't know. It's weird, but I just find the doll, all the movements the doll does to be so funny. And the fact whenever at one point they're on fire, he throws it like don't throw this, like talking to himself. He's looking at it like, oh no, I can't find it. Oh no, I lost my glasses. And then he just dries them up with these tiny little hangers, dry up all the clothes, and then he just bombarded with seaweeds. Then I thought this was so funny. There's at times Dr. Mickey, I'm just laughing at him because he's so funny. Yeah, at times he can be very serious and also very interesting, but he's funny. Who would think you have a villain who's hilarious? Yep. Excuse me. Who I think had the best deaths of the Greeds? Gemmel. Yeah, he basically had really good fight with the burst before he finally died. Mozel would just had one of her nose crushed by just. It was like okay. She and Akalas pretty much got killed the same way with basically the middle. I would say probably the oh my gosh basically did was Dr. Mickey. But don't worry, a lot of characters return in the movies, so basically they'll be back. Don't worry. Like some of them return in the movie that comes in that comes to the following year for 4Z, which I recommend 4Z. So next conversation, like I mentioned, will be Ryoki. So next up is Don Brothers, but for bench watching. But next up is a Comic Corner, and it's on to 100 Girlfriends. Okay, next view. Bye.